the 4th edition Book of Vile Darkness, planar books, Plane Above, Plane Below, Underdark, Manual of Planes, and then we got the Draconomicons for 4th edition, which was actually 2 of, one for the evil chromatic dragons and one for metallic dragons. The Tomb of Horrors and Revenge of the Giants are both Paragon tier adventures, so for characters 10th level or above. And then Halls of Undermountain, which is actually more for starting players. After that I have the Shadowfell box set, which I'll talk about also in a separate video. And then the Madness at Gardmore Abbey, which I really like. It's an adventure, but it comes with a copy of the Deck of Many Things. And the Deck of Many Things, basically one of my favorite magic items, especially early on. All of my 2nd edition campaigns had this, and it pretty much ruined the game, but loved it so much, so I got it basically just to get those cards. The fact that the adventure is really well written just, is kind of a bonus. And then up here, just a few other odds and ends, some miniatures. I have some of my good aligned dragons. I got some beholders. And a book here by Gino and R.A. Salvatore, the Stone of Timora series, which my fiance got for me actually, and ordered it online, and it's signed by both authors, so that's kind of crazy, but I guess that's why I love her so much. And then we have the Dungeon board game. Never actually got around to playing it yet, but it was only 20 bucks, so kind of hard to go wrong there. And then the much more than $20 cooperative board games, so Castle Ravenloft, which was the first one, Wrath of Ashardalon, and The Legend of Drizzt. And then up top, I have here my 3rd edition or 3.5 gift set slipcase. I only have the Player's Handbook and the DMG in there. I gave my Monster Manual away to a friend of mine after buying the reprint, but how I got this particular item is kind of a funny story, unless you're a particular friend of mine, and I'll definitely tell the story when I get around to reviewing that, and I'm sure he'll hate me for it. And then down here, just a few other things. So I got the Chainmail books here for the miniatures game. Really big fan of that game, even when the second version of the plastic ones here, like these guys right here, came out. My friends and I, we pretty much house ruled everything to make it feel more like Chainmail. And I have one of the rarer items in my collection is the 2006 Worldwide D&D Game Day Adventure, Curse at Gethin Abbey, and the miniatures came with it. A friend of mine used to run a store, and we played this adventure actually in his store, and he had extra copies, so he sold one to me, which was awesome. And here I just have my dice. Close to, I think, 29 sets now, almost 30 sets, I think, actually. After giving a couple away, I still have that many, so. And then we have the Pathfinder Pawns. They're stand-up cardboard tokens there that you can use in place of miniatures for different NPCs. The Tiles books, or Tiles collection, I should say. The City, the Dungeon, and the Wilderness for D&D Essentials, which is a 4th edition product, but got a lot of use out of these. And then just here, just a few more D&D things. There's a couple of art books, the Temple of Elemental Evil, Pool of Radiance. I have a Undermountain book here, even though there's nothing on the spine. Some Order of the Stick trades, because why not? And the first 6 R.A. Salvatore Legend of Drizzt novels in graphic novel forms. Devil's Due Publishing released them as comics. Each book had 3 separate comics. When they were done, they put them all together in a hardcover, so I ended up getting the hardcovers for that. And speaking of Salvatore and the Drizzt series, here are the books themselves, the actual novels. I have the first 4 of his series in slipcases, gift sets. And there's the Hunter's Blade trilogy, which were actually the first ones that I read. I had to go back and read these guys later. The short story collection, which was absolutely amazing and fills in a lot of gaps, so if you're a fan of his books and you haven't read this yet, definitely pick this up. And the Transition series, which was going from 3rd edition to 4th edition, so they had to make some drastic changes in the Forgotten Realms for that. The Neverwinter series, all 4 books, including I have Neverwinter here, which I actually got autographed by Salvatore in person when he was down in Halifax, Nova Scotia for HalCon, gaming convention, comic and gaming convention. And I've got the Companions, which is the first book in the Sundering series, the first 4 of which I actually have on paperback. And then Night of the Hunter, his latest series. His next book comes out in August. I'm looking forward to that. And the War of the Spider Queen series, as well as Cell Swords, which may actually be my favorite books by him. Charles Axel and Artemis have just a really interesting relationship, and it was an excellent read from start to finish. Up here, just a few of my minis that I have, mostly Drow and Underdark themed in this particular set that I have. And speaking of Underdark, I have the Heroescape Dungeons & Dragons Master Set 3, Battle for the Underdark, as well as the D&D Minis 2.0, I guess you want to call it, starter set, when they revamped the rules to match the 4th edition style of play. The Beholders set, which has 4 different Beholder minis in there. Beholders are my absolute favorite monsters. Over here I do also have the Dragon set with the chromatic dragons, so there's five of the dragons in there, and I have some of my good dragons out in front of it. Okay, so that pretty much sums up this set here. Just a few other things. There's the 80s D&D comics, which, unless you're a hardcore fan, I really don't recommend getting. They're kind of painful to read, but I guess they're part of history, so there you go. And the Year of Rogue Dragons novel from Richard Lee Byers. Need to get back into this, get back into reading this. I still have my bookmark in there from a few years back, and I just kind of got into the Salvatore ones and haven't looked back yet, so I will definitely finish this hopefully soon. And now we'll just go over and take a look at my Icons minis that were released. So they were the big honkin' dragons that they had done. So we'll go over and have a look at those. Alright, and here we have the iconic dragons, as well as the iconic characters that I have for minis. I thought I would include them all, as well as a few ones that I just kind of like the look of, like the Helmed Horror and the Dwarven Defender. We have Artemis Entreri there, King Obold, Elminster, Drizzt, and then the dragons themselves. So there is the blue dragon, the white dragon, which looks absolutely amazing. A great mini there. The black dragon, which is actually my favorite of the evil dragons. I just always like the skeletal look to it. Much better design than the 2nd edition version. And then a couple of aspects of Bahamut. And then over here I have my aspect of Tiamat, which is actually a quite large miniature, one of the bigger ones that they released for the game, unless you put it next to this guy, which is the Colossal Red Dragon. So if you're looking for a little bit of scale, here is a human-sized mini. And there is the dragon. So it's just crazy how big this thing was. And I guess it would have to be for the price that it cost back in the day. But really well sculpted. Really nice looking mini. And I just have a few more sort of ones up here. Some undead. Vlokith, the leader of the Githyanki. A Dracolich, and some cultists. So anyway, that's sort of the introduction video, just showing the items in my collection. I hope you enjoyed it. The next video that I plan on doing is actually going to be a review of the 5th edition starter set and kind of some first impressions on what I think of 5th edition. Plan on getting the core books and stuff, so I'll do reviews for those as well, but that'll be the next video that I do, and hopefully that'll be up in the next few days. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.